dream it all. Listen close and join my song. Gentle stories all night long. Snuggle in and rest your head. Magic dreams will now be spread. Close your eyes so calm and bright. Now begins our dream. Begins our dream. Tonight.
Lulu and the book that wrote itself. The path was unfamiliar, not because Lulu had never walked it, but because it had changed since the last time. The trees were taller, the moss softer, and the air quieter, as if something hidden had just begun to stir. Lulu wandered through the dusk, her hooves pressing gently into the forest floor. She wasn't looking for anything, but something was waiting. It began with a scent, dust and wood, the smell of long-kept stories, and then she saw it. A small wooden structure nestled between two old trees. It looked like it had once been a reading nook, perhaps even a tiny tree library. Its roof sagged, its steps creaked, but it still stood patient, forgotten, and peaceful. Lulu climbed the stairs carefully. Inside, there were only two things: a soft cushion and a single book resting on a stump. The book was closed. Its cover was deep blue, with no title, just a faint shimmer, like stars waiting behind clouds. Lulu reached out. The moment her hoof touched it, the book opened. No one had written a word, and yet, on the page, letters began to appear. Not written in ink, but in soft strokes of light. Words formed slowly, like thoughts too shy to speak aloud. Some stories are not told, they are felt. Some pages do not wait to be read, they wait to be understood. Lulu blinked. The book was writing itself. A rustle came from outside. A young deer stepped into the doorway, his eyes wide and gentle. I didn't mean to interrupt, he said quietly. Sometimes I come here to be near it. Lulu smiled softly. Do you know what it is? The deer stepped forward, his hooves barely making a sound. My name's Nilo, and I think it listens. He looked at the book, then at Lulu. But I've never been brave enough to let it hear me. Nilo sat just inside the doorway, his legs folded beneath him. Lulu turned the page. More words appeared, slowly, gently, like they were arriving from somewhere deep inside the quiet. This page remembers the first time someone stayed, even when the tears didn't make sense. It remembers how silence can hold you without asking anything in return. Nilo blinked, his voice a whisper. Is it reading me? Lulu looked at the glowing words. I think it's reading what you never said. Nilo lowered his gaze. I didn't know silence could be heard. From behind them, a tiny squeak echoed from under the floorboards. Then, a soft pop. A plank lifted. Out poked a pair of enormous ears, followed by a fuzzy nose and wide, curious eyes. Did someone finally touch the book? The little creature said, her voice bright and quick. She clambered up and stood proudly on the edge of the cushion. I'm Kiki. I used to write stories for the stars, but they stopped listening, so I stopped writing. She turned to Lulu and Nilo, eyes sparkling. But that book? That book doesn't forget. Nilo tilted his head. You know it? Kiki nodded. It doesn't care if you stutter or stay quiet. It listens in the places between. She bounced closer to the book. Go on. Think of something you've never told anyone. Nilo hesitated. His ears twitched. Then, without speaking, he closed his eyes. The page began to glow. Words unfolded like petals opening to moonlight. I was afraid of being too soft, of not knowing what to say, of needing someone and not knowing how to ask. But I always wished someone would know anyway. The light faded. The words remained. Kiki placed a tiny paw on his leg. That's one of the bravest pages I've ever seen. Nilo looked at the book, then at Lulu. It didn't judge me. Lulu smiled. No, it honored you. And above them, though the sky was clouded, a single star blinked awake, as if remembering something too precious to forget. The room felt warmer now, not because of fire or sun, but because something had opened. Not the book, not the air, but the space between the three of them. Lulu gently turned the page again. This time, no words appeared, just a soft shimmer, as if the page was waiting to be trusted. Kiki leaned forward. You have to feel it, not force it. Lulu closed her eyes. She thought of all the quiet things, the way the wind feels when it changes, the softness of fog before sunrise, the ache in your heart when you miss someone but don't know how to say their name. When she opened her eyes, the page was full. There are stories we carry in silence because we think they are too small, but the smallest stories are often the ones that ache the loudest. This book holds them all. Not to fix them, just to let them be. Nilo watched quietly. It's like it knows who we are when we don't know how to explain. Kiki nodded slowly. I think that's why I stopped writing. I thought I had to make everything perfect, but maybe stories don't have to teach. Maybe they can just understand. She pulled a tiny folded paper from behind her ear. I used to write one sentence each night and tuck it away. Just a feeling, just a whisper. She opened the paper. The words were small and faint. I wish someone would wait for me without asking why I'm slow. The book shimmered again. Without being touched, a corner of the page folded inward gently, as if it were giving Kiki's sentence a place to rest. Kiki wiped her eyes. I didn't think it mattered. Lulu smiled. It matters, because you do. And in that moment, the book didn't write anything. Instead, it listened. And in that listening, they felt something rare. Not the urge to speak, but the peace of being heard. The sky outside had deepened into velvet blue. Moonlight poured through the gaps in the old wooden walls, and the soft glow from the book danced along the floorboards like sleepy fireflies. Nilo sat with his eyes half closed, breathing slowly. Kiki curled in a fold of the cushion, her whiskers twitching from time to time, and Lulu turned another page. This one was blank at first, but not for long. A slow pattern began to bloom, not words, but images, faint outlines of three small shapes, side by side, sitting quietly in a circle of light. Them. It was drawing them. Nilo blinked. It remembers us? Lulu nodded. Maybe it remembers how it feels to be together. Kiki stretched and looked at the glowing lines. Maybe we're not writing the book at all, she said. Maybe it's writing with us. A soft hum rose from the spine of the book, barely audible, like a lullaby with no melody, only intention. Then, Another page turned itself. This time, the words were clear and simple. You are not hard to read. You are just written in a softer language, one only the quiet know how to hear. Nilo's eyes shimmered again. I always thought I had to become louder, braver, faster. Lulu leaned close. You didn't. You only had to become you. A wind passed through the forest, soft, like a page being turned somewhere very far away, and the book closed gently. Not from finality, but from fullness. Kiki sat up. Is it done? Lulu touched the cover. No, I think it's resting. Stories need rest too. They sat together in silence, not needing to say anything more. Because some moments don't need to be remembered in words. They're remembered in presence, and in the way the heart finally feels seen. The forest was still, the kind of stillness that comes not from silence, but from peace. The book remained closed, resting gently on the wooden stump. Its glow had faded, but a quiet warmth still pulsed from it, like a sleepy breath. Kiki stretched and hopped down from the cushion. I used to think stories had to have an ending, she said, glancing back at the book. But maybe some just keep listening, even after the last page turns. Nilo nodded slowly. They don't close because they're finished. They close because they trust you to carry the next part. Lulu stood and looked at her two new friends. Maybe this story isn't about what we wrote, she said. Maybe it's about what we were brave enough to feel. Outside, the stars had begun to appear, quiet and patient, scattered across the sky like tiny open pages. Kiki smiled. I think the stars are listening again. Nilo stepped beside Lulu, and I think I'm ready to speak, even if only in whispers. The three of them left the little hut together. No one looked back. Not because they didn't care, but because they knew the book would remember. And maybe, someday, someone else would find it. Someone quiet. Someone unsure. Someone carrying a story they thought no one could hear. And when they touched the cover, the book would open and listen all over again.
Now it's quiet, night is near. Drift away through stars so clear. Lulu whispers soft and bright. Sleep so well and good night. Sweetest dreams will softly flow. Lulu stays with you, you know. Till we meet again, my dear. Let your dreams keep drawing near. Till we meet again, my dear. Let your dreams keep drawing